miles northeast of Dutch Harbor, the Aleutian Ballard is jogging through 40-foot seas and 60-mile-per-hour winds. Captain Jerry Tilley is at the helm, but fishing in this weather is impossible, so the crew has sought shelter below deck.
How's it looking, Chief?
Captain Jerry is deeply focused on the large swells ahead, when suddenly... a massive rogue wave the size of a 5-story building has sideswiped the boat. Rogue waves up to 100 feet high often appear without warning in mid-ocean. The 60-foot wall of water which smashed into the 100-foot fishing boat turned it completely on its side, causing the engines to shut down because of a sudden drop in oil pressure. The camera continues to record as the crew struggles to gain control of their boat. The engines are dead. The power is out.
Holy. Chief, we got no steering. You got auxiliary dive? We got slack tanks. How long, okay?
Amazingly, the boat rights itself. Captain Jerry is able to fire up the engine and restore power.
And that video clip, my friends, are what the Aleutian Ballard is well known for on season 2 of the Deadliest Catch show. Today I'm going to show you part 1 of the Deadliest Catch Tour out of Ketchikan, Alaska. So today we're going to learn everything about the boat, how all of the mechanisms work. I get to hold some crab, and we're going to actually do a little bit of crab fishing. And this is part 1 of the Deadliest Catch Tour. Most of this tour is going to be narrated by the captain and his co-captain. But underneath the ship, they turned it into like a little museum. So there's all kinds of really neat stuff down there that you can read about the show and pictures. They have really nice bathrooms on the boat. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our captains.
I heard somebody saying they saw jellyfish. The big white ones are moon jelly. I've seen one in 8 years on here. I think he was lost. All right, this is the block. Call it the king block. And this right over here is the coiler. It does just what it says, coils the line for me. Now we connect different lengths of line together to get to the depths we need. Every boat prefers different lengths of line that they deal with, but we're going to call those lengths of line shots. We have a 25 fathom shot connected to a 50 fathom shot, 6 feet to a fathom, so we're pulling 150 feet followed by 300 feet. We've actually got 2 kinds of line. The line we pulled first, connected to the buoys, is a sinking line, so it doesn't sit on the top of the water and a boat come by and run over that. And then the line connected to the pot itself is a floating line. So that way it floats away from the pot and it doesn't chafe off in a storm down there if the buoys are being yanked around.
Awesome.
Pots up. Ooh. Crab leg. All right, you guys. This is a cone pot or a dome pot. This is an example of the kind of gear a boat may take if they're a little bit smaller than the big guys. Maybe they can't pack a lot of those big square pots on board. These are much more easy to compact and take on the boat. We're going to hang bait jars around that tunnel, typically 2 or 3 of them. They're going to be filled with fresh bait, whatever that is. And the juices are going to flow in and out of that thing and create a scent trail at the bottom of the ocean. They smell that. They come crawling to the pot, just like that. They crawl up the sides of the pot, just like that. They get into the tunnel, just like that. You don't know, you weren't there. My goodness. Now, the way we open it, we open up the bottom. The whole thing relaxes. We get the crab out. Now we can stack those like cereal bowls on top of each other. If we can fit 2 big king crab pots here, we can fit a stack of 15 of those in the same footprint. Tell them what you got, Big D.
All right, what I have are box king crab, BOX. They are really closely related to the king crab. They taste just like king crab, and they're really hard to catch. They're so hard to catch that no one processes them. I mean, you cannot go to the market and buy them. You can't go to the restaurant and order them. They're just hard. They're hard to come by. And that's a shame too, because I think they're, you know, one of the coolest crabs we catch by a long shot. I mean, they close up, they're like a little rock. When they open up, Optimus Prime. And when you guys hold them, you're going to put a couple fingers right here on their belly, thumb on their back, and just hold them like a sandwich.
I'm going to have a bunch of critters on this table. You can pick them up. You can put them in your hand. None of this stuff's going to hurt you, okay? I'm also going to have crab gals coming up with critters. You guys, get on out here. We're ready to share our crabs with you.
Come on out.
That's not funny, man. That's funny. I'm also going to be handing out crab. You do not get to hold the octopus. I know. Life is full of sadness.
Well, here it is. Looks pretty cute.
Not this type backdrop.
1, 2, 3.
So I got to hold all these starfish and crabs and sea creatures, and really none of them were slimy. They were just kind of like a hard shell with like a crab would feel like. What really was awesome about these is the vibrant colors. They were just amazing. The purples are awesome. Okay, another veteran Bering Sea bait. I don't know what this is, but it's really cool. So from watching the show, I already knew how to kind of grab that anchor and throw it in the water. We didn't get to actually throw it in the water, but I knew how to pose for it. So lots of fun.
Ready?
Okay, go ahead, water.
All right, going over.
Going over.
Lots away.
Lots away.
That was a money shot.
All right. You guys are box crabbers. BOX. Box crabbers. You ready to check out some king crab?
Yeah.
There's blues, there's reds, and there's goldens. And we're going to target their environment to catch them. The red king crab are going to be about 250 feet deep on a flat sandy bottom. The blue king crab, they like less salt water. So they're going to be around freshwater rivers and streams, jumping out on the rocky coastlines. There's just a few places you're going to find those guys. These golden king crab, you're going to find them on cliffs. And you're going to set your pots on those cliffs starting 300 feet down, sometimes going down past 2,000 feet deep. These right here, caught at 1,500 feet on average. Now, once you got them on the boat, they have to be a male.
So this is some of the equipment that they use to catch king crab. They put cod and other types of fish on hooks, and they throw it in the box, put it in the ocean. They said king crabs are deep down in the ocean, 1,500 feet or more. So this right here is about a 20-30 pound crab, and it's probably worth at least $400 or $500. Just one of those crabs. These are some of the pictures that they had inside at the museum, which was just a very tiny museum, but it's worth it to see all of the stuff. And this is the co-captain. And there's me and the king crab.
We're back in the block. And we're back in the coiler. I told you we caught those king crab at 1,500 feet deep on average. When we pull that much line, we're going to fill this coiler up 3 times and empty it. Alright, that's 450 in and then about a 5 fathom shot to clear it.
I'll get your hook in a second after.
Lots of.
I just turned them off and turned them back on.
Are you saying it wasn't my magic fingertips that fixed it?
Yeah.
Alright, it don't matter as long as it's fixed.
There they are. Those replicas I told you about. Now listen, we used to pull it up with live king crab. We'd have 8 empty shells, 5 live crab, and a 40-pound octopus would look at you and say, "Hey man, I didn't do it." No, it was an all-you-can-eat buffet. So, I've got 3 riders on my side. Big D has 2 on his. They were getting into the pot as we hooked it up. You're going to hear Captain come across the hailer. Get that bait out. Get those crab out. We're fishing here. At 11 bucks a pound or so, around 7 pounds a piece on average when they're mature enough to catch them. You start getting 10 or 15, even 20 in a pot, you're making thousands of dollars per pot.
Alright, first thing I do, I gotta set that down on those hooks on the bottom of that launcher. That's gonna stabilize the bottom of that trap. Like you said, it's 750 pounds. I wanna make sure it stays where I put it. But now I have to stabilize the top. And I'm gonna use what we call dogs. And all they are is metal hooks that come in hydraulically. They center that pot and hold it tight to the top of the launcher. Now I'm free to move it around, and I have to move it quite a bit. I'm going to pick it up flat. A couple guys are going to wheel a table right underneath here. A couple other guys are going to pull these straps off, and they're going to flip this door up. Now those crabs are ready to come out. And that's the next thing I have to do is get them out. The way I'm going to do that is just dump them out. I'm going to pick it up like this. When I get up here, I'm going to start shaking this handle. And all those crabs will fall out onto that table. I lower it down. 1 or 2 guys, depending on what's going on, are going to reach in there and take the baits out. Somebody's going to hand them new baits. They're going to pin them in. They're going to come out, close that door, and that pot's ready to go. It does not spend any time on that rack. And, I mean, it's a pretty fast operation, but there's 3 critical points. And if I forget one of them, it gets ugly quick. And that would be these dogs right here. And it happens. If I don't put the dogs on here, that pot's going to jump off and hit that safety rack and fall down. We got to pick it up with a hook line. If I'm in the Bering Sea and I don't put those on, this boat's going sideways, up and down. We got waves coming over. 9 times out of 10, it's going to go to that wall over there, and it's going to take everything out between here and there. And it's happened. Everybody's seen it happen. You just don't want it to happen on your watch. So you got to pay attention. And I try to be very vocal. I say what I'm doing when I pull levers. Like right now, I'm going down.
Going down. Very common to echo the hydro guy. Now I'm just going to tell you something ecological about the pot and then turn it over to Captain. These things will get away from us sometimes. We can't find them, they're too deep, whatever. There's lots of reasons. But they'll sit down there at the bottom of the ocean and fish or ghost fish until they rust away. Crab go in and die, it baits it up. Crab go in and die, it baits it up. So crabbers came up with the solution and the state made it a law. We'll cut an 18-inch wide hole in the side of the pot and sew that back together with a cotton line. That cotton line rots out in about 40 days The hole reappears, everything escapes, it quits fishing, and it's just a reef out there until it does rust away.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, man.
All right. Well, we're in trouble in the Bering Sea. We haven't had a snow crab season for 3 years. We haven't had a king crab season for 2 years. They're going to have a little one, a couple million pounds, just to see what's out there and see how fast it'll take to catch it. Codfish used to come from the Gulf of Alaska, come into the Bering Sea, hit that cold water, turn around and go back. The Bering Sea is warmed up 2 to 3 degrees. Now the codfish will come in by the millions into the Bering Sea. They're not hitting that cold water.
We can hear you.
Anyway,
He was in that log scrap pot. He'd eaten about 8 crab yesterday morning. He gets to ride in the tank for a few days and think about it. We parole him. We've caught over 80 this season. We'll catch one tomorrow morning probably, usually on the morning tour. He'll get paroled and new one will go in the tank. I use the word tank. Smartest creature in the ocean. Smarter than dolphins and whales. They have 9 brains. Their main brain in the mantle is more complex than dolphins and whales. The mini brains on each arm are more complex than everything but dolphins and whales. They can change their color in the blink of an eye.
They did not allow us to touch the octopus because they're very fragile and they get distraught easily. So when he was putting them back in the pot, he was very gentle about it and kind of touched it all the way into the pot.
Know what's on your hand, okay? The Perel. Maybe you put your hand through that wonderful gel hair of yours, you know. We just don't know what's on there, so we're very careful with what we do with the octopus. Favorite critter on the boat, used to hate him.
So we're headed back to Ketchikan, and on the way through, we are going to pass by the Carnival Spirit, which was the cruise ship that I cruised in on. And the Aleutian Ballard actually parks right next to the Carnival Spirit or whatever cruise ship is there at that time. The tour itself was about 3.5 hours, and they took us way out to some private islands that were owned by Indians. And in part 2, you're going to be able to see humpback whales and eagles up close. And here is a little bit of preview of part 2, which is going to be amazing. I hope you enjoyed my video today at part 1 of the Deadliest Catch Tour. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share my videos. And remember, it's up to you to make it fun and make it yours. We'll see you the next time.